Hi, let's give you a quick whistle-stop tour of the SOC.OS platform. Starting here at the wallboard, what you see is a bunch of tables giving you a sort of high-level visibility across your tools, across all your alerts. So you got most frequent alert types, most critical alerts across all your different tools that are integrated with SOC.OS, most frequent IPs, and most frequent threat types, which is what SOC.OS maps. We ingest your alerts, we map them to MITRE, and then we give you sort of the most frequent that we're seeing over a given time period. Switching quickly to the dashboard, this is really the core USP here of SOC.OS in a picture. You see a bunch of alerts coming in. From 88, we will cluster those 88 alerts across all your tools into 9 individual clusters, which are groupings of alerts through time, and each one of those clusters represents a unique case. And then we prioritize those 9, and really the analyst looks at these 5. So the typical workflow of an analyst would be to look at these 5 prioritized clusters over a given period. You also have a threat map here, which is sort of the threat intel that we're pulling from third-party sources, enriching the alert data. So all the IOCs we get in the metadata would enrich, and we put that on a map for you, which is all click through as well. If you want to see the hits from Japan, you can click on that and it'll take you to the alerts and the clusters that contain IOCs that, based on the intelligence that we're pulling, the third party intel from Alien Vault, OTX feeds, and abused IPDB, what alerts contain a Japan hit. Let's go through the workflow. Let's click on sort of these 5. You're going to get to these clusters here. What you see is, first and foremost, this is a list of your clusters ranked in score order. You can see sort of here it's been filtered by score greater than 200. That's where roughly things start to get interesting. You can see sort of the source system. So there's a bunch of FortiGate IPS alerts and some Darktrace alerts. You're going to click on one of these here. So you can see the tags as well. This is business context. So the customer has added this. This is an important web server that's been tagged in this particular cluster. You're going to click on this cluster to dive in and investigate a bit further. And what you're going to see on the left here is an overview. So the story is quite simple. It's these 41 alerts, so 6 different, unique alert types. SOC.OS is saying those 41 are related. And essentially why, in this case, it's saying it's related, well, it's these 41 were all mapped to this threat technique in the MITRE ATT&CK framework, and they all contain this external entity. And here behind my face, you have 3 internal IP addresses. Now, it's not just correlating on IP addresses. You have users, you have hashes, domains. We have a bunch of entities. It's very SOC.OS language, and you can read about exactly what we classify as an entity within our wiki. But you got the story there. 41 correlated to this technique. They all contain this IP address. And then you can click on it to expand, and you get all the threat intel that we bring into the tool. This is obviously empty, but here you would have lots of reports from other customers and other communities about that IP address in particular. So that's sort of the overview story. And then here you have the visualization. So real quick view, what you can see is the timeline. So starting here in week 1, you can scroll down, and week 5 here, you have 21 new alerts that were generated and correlated together. So this is the overview in a visualization format. And the story is simple. These are your internal entities. So this is your business assets. In this case, you can see three different IP addresses. And in the 41 alerts, they all contain this external. You can cut this how you like. So hour view. So in hour 1, you saw 9 alerts. Hour 2, you saw 11 alerts. You can cut that to the day view and scroll through. So this gives a really good overview, very quick visualization for you to see, okay, that IP address, that's sort of the culprit of correlation, because you can see the long bar there. The bars indicate sort of the counts, so how many times this IP address was in those 41 alerts. That's a nice overview, very, very visual representation. That helps, but also the analyst likes the data view. So you can go to the data view. You can filter this data view. So say you're only interested in the last 21 alerts here. So you can filter that using this little timeline on the bottom there. I'm just going to quickly undo that. But you're going to go, you can group this by alert type. You can start to click on the raw data. You can start to see some information we pull out, whether it's been dropped or not, actioned, unactioned. So in SOC.OS, unactioned is something that's being detected, not being blocked or quarantined by the tool itself. You got the past alert and the raw alert here as well. Now, this is all aiding in your investigation and also helping the analyst come up with the aha moment really quickly. That's sort of the cluster. That's the main area the analyst would live to understand what this case represents before knowing then how to remediate effectively. Not only is it powerful for just looking at clusters, but you can use low code or no code ways of searching through your alert database. So think of SOC.OS as your alert repository. We store that for a minimum a year, and you can hot search for over a year. And you can use these chips. So if I just show you an example, if I go back to this, I can click on this IP address. Let's copy that. Let's say there was an incident and you wanted to use sort of SOC.OS to help with a response, or you want to go a bit more hunting. You can sort of go here. Say you're looking for a particular entity, which is an IP address. You can say, hey, SOC.OS, find me every single cluster, every single alert that contain that IP address, and you can see very responsive way of bringing back those results. And you can search on all of these normalized fields, which is quite a lot of them. You can see you can start to even search on MITRE ATT&CK. So, I'm interested in lateral movement. Pick your date range, what's happened, what alerts were mapped to lateral movement, and here you go. You got a bunch of clusters: trend micro, dark trace, and more trend, and you can go and investigate. If you want to look at alerts, you can also do that. So here you have your alerts, and you can also search based on these fields as well. So very low code, really easy to prod and query the database. For the more advanced users, you can switch to the advanced mode here in the top right, and you can see sort of a syntax-based query language where you have a bit more configurability with how to search through your database. For MSP customers, you have a switch org. So that's only visible if you have multiple customers and you're managing SOC.OS. And then you have a bunch of settings. So you can add your custom enrichment here. So this is where you add your crown jewels. So customers go in. This is for quick triage. This also allows you to configure the scoring as well. So you have a particular user, boss at company.com. Creatively, we've called that here. You can add a tag to that. And basically what you're telling SOC.OS to do is in every bit of metadata that comes in to the system, look for this text. If you see a text match, yes, absolutely correlate with this. So you can switch off correlation if you don't want to correlate on particular identifiers, but you can also boost the score. So every alert that comes in with that text, it's going to impact the score of that alert. That's one way to impact the scoring. Another way is obviously through here, the scoring portal. So here you can influence the score on a source system level. Say you really cared about FortiGate alerts. So every alert from FortiGate will be scored higher, and then actioned, unactioned, and unknown. So if we know that's been blocked by the FortiGate, I'm going to suppress that score of that particular alert. Or if it's detected, you want to boost that as well. So this is typically useful for if you have a very high fidelity source system. Say you have a honeypot tool that doesn't fire off often, you can really boost that score, and that's going to make those alerts come up to the top of that cluster queue. And then you can also add alerts. So particular alerts that you care about, you can boost. Particular alerts that you care less about, you can suppress. You can obviously filter them out as well. So you can suppress alerts, but you can also go to the filtering. I'm going to just quickly show you that here. And you can add rules. That is a reverse firewall rule methodology where you can sort of drop the alerts. So add your regex there. You can do test alerts in here to see whether you're actually filtering, you have the desired outcome. So drop or deny. This is all explained in our wiki. And you can add alerts and you can actually get them into SOC.OS, but then filter them out. So, again, reducing the noise. That's all for now. Happy hunting and see you next time.